There's some great views that you can have of the surrounding mountains and the Banff Valley. Coming up in the program, we'll take you on the Sulphur Mountain Gondola, which provides an outstanding vista that looks out over the entire region. And we'll share a lot of tips with you on how you can get the most out of a vacation in Canada. We're going to show you a wide range of topics covering the cities and the countryside. This is Dennis Callan for World Traveler, reporting from Banff. We're in the Canadian Rockies. This is one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. There's a variety here of mountains and rivers, valleys, alpine meadows. You've got the towns for shopping. There's restaurants for fine dining. All in all, it makes a terrific experience. To give you an idea how close this little village is to the beauties of nature, just 5 minutes drive away, you'll come here to Vermillion Lakes. It's really one of the prettiest spots that we saw in the entire journey. The reflections in the lakes are magnificent.
We have the bus for a few hours, and so we'll see the best of Banff. Canada's very first national park, established back in 1885.
And then we have a fun ride up the Sulphur Mountain. A convenient gondola takes us up. It's an aerial cable car, very much like you see in the ski slopes, or like you'd see over in the Swiss Alps. And from the cable car, you get a spectacular view looking back down at the Banff town site and back at Tunnel Mountain and the Bow River. This is another one of the must-dos while you're in the Banff area. It only takes 8 minutes to get to the top, and while you're riding, you might strike up a conversation with your fellow passengers. And it's quite the stunning view along the route. When you get to the top, you'll be standing 7,000 feet above sea level and have a wonderful view out over the Bow Valley, the Banff town site, and Lake Minnewanka. It's really quite a delightful view from the gondola, so don't forget to take pictures while you're in the cable car instead of waiting until you get to the very top. It's the easiest way to a mountaintop near Banff. It's kind of like Switzerland, how they've civilized the mountain peaks for your convenience and pleasure. Of course, at the top, we're going to have a wonderful panoramic view all the way around, 360 degrees. And there's also some wild animals up here. And there's even a restaurant up here at the top and a civilized trail you can walk on. Behind me you see the splendors of Banff. It's one of the most majestic spots in the Canadian Rockies. And when you go up the cable car, you get a fantastic view of it. It's really worth your time to take an hour out of your day and go up the cable car and get this superb view, take some nice pictures. You can look around all 360 degrees from the top of the mountain and then go back on down and see more of the town. You can see the whole town and the mountains around it. You can pick out the hotel you're staying at. There's a golf course, there's the river, and it's really worth the little climb up the wooden staircase. You take the cable car to the top, and then a boardwalk brings you to this observation at the peak of the mountain. At the top here, you might be surprised to run into some wild animals. There's a friendly herd of bighorn sheep who lives up here. This is true alpine country, and the bighorn sheep are right at home here. They're also called mountain sheep, and you can see why. These are true horns that don't fall off every year, unlike the antlers of the elk and the deer. The lookout is well posted with information signs that gives you the names of the different peaks off in the distance and tells you a little bit about the history of the area. Sulphur Mountain had been used as a meteorological station. People would climb up here once or twice a week and take weather readings. Here they'd measure the rainfall and the temperature and get a good fix on the meteorological situation. They even had an overnight cabin, which is still preserved today. You see here, no, this is not a hotel at the top of the mountain. It's the original equipment of the old caretakers and weathermen. You'll get some good photos, so be sure to bring lots of film, and you might try and take a picture of these chipmunk. You're going to find little sheeps all over the Canadian Rockies, but they're pretty hard to photograph. They shoot around like bullets. There'll be lots of people up here in the season, but that doesn't seem to bother the mountain sheep. They seem to love it. They're looking for some food handouts. Again, you're not supposed to feed any of the wild animals. They've got to make do on their own and live off the land. But people want to get close to them and get a nice full-frame portrait. The mountain sheep eat mostly grasses, which make up about 60% of their diet in the summertime, along with wildflowers and foliage and lichens. In the winter, they've got to scramble. The food is not nearly as plentiful, so they need to stock up on their body fat in the summertime. They're very tame. They might look like a goat, but this is the bighorn sheep. And there is a baby sheep. A little lamb with the majestic Rockies in the background. Sulphur Mountain is an experience that you cannot miss when you're at Banff. It's really a delight to get out here and take pictures of the sheep, take pictures of each other and the mountains all around you. And the top of this mountain is very civilized. There's viewing platforms, a boardwalk, staircases, great photo ops. More wild animals. There's a snack shop up top. There is a restaurant, the Summit Restaurant, the highest in Canada.
We saw his first wildlife.
Was it the sheep or the goat?
The squirrel.
A squirrel.
Still exciting.
This mountain peak is just over 7,000 feet high, and the peaks around us rise as much as 10,000 feet in elevation. We're right in the heart of the Canadian Rockies at the top of Sulphur Mountain. And it's so easy to get up here. It's only an 8-minute gondola ride. You could hike up the mountain if you so choose. It would take you half a day probably to walk up, and you'd have nice views from the trail. Fast food deluxe. Grab a sandwich, have a drink, have a coffee, relax, admire the view, and then head back on down the mountain from whence you came. It's another 8 minutes to get back down to the bottom of the Sulphur Mountain on the same gondola. You could hike it, of course. Walking down's a lot easier than walking up, but you might as well ride. We've got a lot more things to see in our holiday in Canada.
She'll continue and make her way in towards Bow Falls, the next viewing attraction. See the full force of the Bow River dropping in one spot, forming beautiful Bow Falls, and that's in the backdrop of the property of the Banff Springs Hotel.
It's really nice. I could live here. The golf course right back of the pines there. Wow, it's beautiful.
Bow Falls is another great site here in Banff. It's in the river just in front of the Banff Springs Hotel. You just hop out of your car, snap a pic, and you're on your way. It's a drive-in waterfall, actually more like shooting rapids. Another beautiful spot that we found in Banff is the Spray River. There's trails here so that you can walk along the river for a mile if you wish, cross over a bridge and return in a loop trail. You can also rent a bicycle, and it's a dirt surface, but it's really quite easy to pedal along on a bicycle. Or you can keep going to the next bridge across the river, and in that case you're traveling a total of about 6 miles. So you can take your pick here at the Spray River. You can rent a bicycle from a number of shops right in Banff town, which is just a few miles away from here. The Banff Springs Hotel looks like a Scottish castle. And of course there's a lot of shops open to the public, and there's a spa that you can utilize, there's restaurants. So stop on by. It's really one of the great hotels in Canada. It's quite expensive during the season. You might expect to pay $300 to $400 a night for a room here. Or cheaper yet, you can just drop in for breakfast. That's what we did, and had a great meal. It was something like $16 American for a wonderful buffet breakfast, all you can eat. You can take as long as you want to enjoy the food, and there's plenty of room here in the dining area. It's the largest hotel in the Canadian Rockies with 770 rooms. When it was built in 1888, it had 250 rooms, which made it the world's largest hotel. Magnificent structure, a lot of shops. It's like a city unto itself, and there's several other restaurants on the grounds of the Banff Springs Hotel. So you're welcome here for lunch or dinner if you like. Of course, it's open to the public. And if you're clever enough to find the snack bar near the spa, you can enjoy the outdoor terrace. Splendid view to go with your coffee and snacks. This is really the good life here at the Banff Springs Hotel. Another hotel we really like is the Banff Park Lodge, and it has a Hawaiian tiki out front. There's two tikis, one on top of the other, looking something like a totem pole, Northwest Coast Indian style art. The Banff Park Lodge is where we're going to be staying in our upcoming tour of Canada. It's a tour that's open to the general public, and we'll be staying for 3 nights here in Banff. Give us plenty of time to look around the area, take some nature walks, do some shopping in town. And the Banff Park Lodge is conveniently located because it's just 3 blocks from the main street, from Banff Avenue. So it's an easy walk over to town. Another very nice hotel is the Buffalo Mountain Lodge. It's about a mile outside of town, and they have an excellent restaurant. Here you'll find wild game on the menu, including buffalo and elk and moose in season. Nice cocktail lounge by the fireside here at the Buffalo Mountain Lodge.
So we shall visit the Hoodoo Formation. It's just a form of erosion occurring along the shore banks of the Bow River at this position.
From the Hoodoo Lookout, we have a nice view of the Hoodoo Formation and the Bow River down below. There's a nice bend in the bow at this point. Great spot to grab some more pictures. And then we saw a fun sight down below. There's a herd of elk walking in the river.
Yeah.
The zone surrounding us is called the montane zone. It has both deciduous and coniferous trees.
Then we drove up the Mount Norquay Scenic Drive, and from here there's a lovely view of Banff town site. It's just about 4 miles away, but you have a nice perspective here with the mountains all around Banff.
This road takes us down by the Vermillion Lakes on our left-hand side coming up, and it will come to a dead end. We'll do a turnaround and slowly make our way back. But these Vermillion Lakes are a result of previous flooding of the Bow River system that flows through the valley here over the years. The Indians called it the Wapiti, meaning white rum.
The Vermillion Lakes are just about a mile away from Banff town, and it shows how easily you can get into the wilderness and natural beauties all around the Banff town site. So this place has a lot to offer. Next thing on the list is the town itself. Let's go check out Banff Village. It's rather unique in Canada because it's one of the only sizable towns that was built specifically as a resort town. There was nothing here before there was a national park. This park was founded back around the turn of the century, and the buildings grew up in a response to taking care of the visitors. So you'll find lots of things to buy here, of course. You can even purchase the outfit that was worn by Sergeant Preston and his little bear. You'll come home looking like a Mountie. Great for your next costume party. You're looking at the main street that runs through the heart of town. It's called Banff Avenue. It's just about a mile long. It's lined with shops and restaurants. And also here you'll find the information headquarters. This is a good spot to drop in. They have a lot of freebies. They've got handouts. They've got information about hotel rooms, about campgrounds, and very friendly park rangers who are there to answer your questions and help you out. It's really a customer service oriented kind of place. You can really relax here. They'll find you a hotel booking for the night if you haven't gotten a room yet. Although it would be a good idea to make a reservation if you're arriving in the summertime because Banff can easily fill up. It's a very popular, very crowded place. So try and make your reservations ahead of time before you go. There's also a bookstore inside the information center that's very complete, and they have a small theater that shows an ongoing movie about the surrounding region. One of the restaurants that we really liked in town is called Coyotes, and it's a casual lunch, breakfast, and dinner spot. You can get sandwiches, you could just get a snack if you like, or you can get a complete meal. We found a delicious veggie burger here, and they've got grilled salmon, grilled chicken, all at fairly modest prices. It's on a side street just about a half a block off of Banff Avenue. There is a little commercial district that surrounds Banff Avenue, so by all means go explore some of those little back roads and side streets, and there you'll find even more shops and delicious restaurants to enjoy. The main drag of town is really charming. Surrounded by the mountains this way, it's a spectacular setting for a very friendly and functional little town. At the administration headquarters at the end of the avenue, there's a little park with flowers. Very pleasant. Of course, there are a lot of nice hotels in the area to pick from, but if you'd rather get closer to nature, you can camp out in any one of 30 organized campgrounds in the Banff and Lake Louise National Parks area. There's a total of 5,000 camping spots here. You cannot reserve them ahead of time, however. You just have to show up on that day at the campground, so it's a good idea to get there in the morning if you want to stake your claim to a patch of ground to pitch your tent. And when you're camping out, you'll be able to see, smell, hear, and taste the difference out there in the midst of nature. Great way to go. You can also go camping in the back country. If you want to go hiking and pitch your tent pretty much wherever you please, there is a permit system, and it costs about $5 a night to do that per person. And the campgrounds will be happy to point you in that direction. Watch out for the animals. You're not supposed to feed them or touch them or get too close to them, but they'll come right up to you if you don't watch out. There's lots of elk in the area especially. The elk just walk around loose on the roads. They walk around in the town of Banff, and they eat people's flowers in the backyard even. It's really a wonderful experience to be able to get this close to some wild, majestic animals. Another one of the trails in the immediate Banff area is the Fenland marsh area. Fenland is a flat, kind of swampy, marshy area that's in the process of being converted from a lake to a mountain meadow over a long period of geological time. And while it's a rather flat and even terrain here at the Fenland, you'll find constant delights and quite a bit of variation in the plants, and you might have a chance to ride a bicycle if you choose on some of these trails. Fenland is a self-guided nature walk that loops around and comes back to where you began, so it's a real easy walk. It just takes 30 minutes to do the loop, and you might have a chance to see some birds. Red-winged blackbirds, deer, and beaver are found in the area. The trail crosses what's called 40 Mile Creek. It's all part of the Bow River watershed, and it's connected to the Vermillion Lakes that we were just looking at, immediately adjacent to this. And this area consists of damp soil and grasses and sedges.
A lot of them.
It's an abandoned river channel that's been fragmented into ponds. Here you see the work of the beaver. It's flat, level, and an easy hike.